Today, I have a very special guest. He is a former WCW Cruiserweight Champion, television champion, tag team champion, among other things. He is a world-traveled professional wrestler. He is the one and only Mr. Alex Wright. Alex, how are you, sir?
I'm very good. How about you guys over there?
It's very cold right now, but I live in Indiana, so it's summer one day, winter the next. It's a tornado. It's constant. It's hard to stay healthy.
Well, same over here. It's very cold over here right now.
I am not a fan right now, but hopefully we're getting out of this right now.
Yeah, definitely.
So what made you want to get into professional wrestling? What was it that ultimately made you make that decision to pursue this?
Well, it's actually very simple. I'm a second generation wrestler,
Hmm.
which means my dad, Steve Wright, wrestled professionally, very successfully international all over the world for 26 years. He wrestled for New Japan Pro Wrestling in Japan. He wrestled for all the big companies in Mexico. He wrestled for Vern Gagne in the US, and he wrestled for Stu Hart in Canada.
Hmm.
And of course, he wrestled all over Europe and yeah, India and all kind of places. So I grew up on the road, and he wrestled a lot of many times over here for CWA, which is Catch Wrestling Association. That was the biggest German-speaking promotion that time. Just to get an idea, 1994 they were still selling out the arena in Bremen, which holds about 12,000 spectators. So it's actually a very big deal, CWA, and even more because they did not have any TV deal. So it was just house shows and tournaments, and still they sold out. So that was a big deal. Anyway, I grew up on the road in the caravan or in the hotel right beside the building. And for me, it was the best playground to be in the ring. So as soon as I was crawling around as a baby, my dad took me to the ring. And yeah, I always enjoyed it. Wrestling is in my blood. Wrestling is my life. Wrestling is my passion. And as I got older, I was eager to learn more. My dad never forced me to. I mean, it was always my decision. And yeah, for me, it never felt like training. It always felt like playing around, and doing wrestling. And anyway, with 16, I had my first professional wrestling match in Wuppertal, Germany for CWA. Um, I was preparing for that match my whole life till that moment. I mean, I did a lot of submission wrestling. I did a lot of amateur wrestling. I did a lot of tournaments in amateur wrestling. I did weightlifting, hold many, many titles in weightlifting, and I did competitive swimming. So everything I did was for my sport. Plus, I
Hmm.
did a lot of partying at the time. I was a young kid. But before I went out to the disco, to the dance club, first I trained and then I partied. Anyway, 16, I had my first professional bout, and I was the youngest German pro wrestler at that time. Uh, Actually the youngest in Europe and one of the youngest worldwide. And I got a lot of media attention.
Hmm.
And I did a lot of interviews, radio shows, talk shows on TV. And there was a very big, huge TV show which invited me when I was 16. And shortly before I became 18, they invited me again to see my progress in the world of wrestling. And on the second time, there was also Johnny Bad, Mark Merrow, and Sting at the TV show. And I met those guys, and backstage I met the tour manager, and they said, "Hey, listen, kid, we you're more than welcome to come to our show. We have a German tour right now running, and the next venue is in Munich, which is about an hour and a half from Nuremberg, where I live." And my dad being that long in the business and a multiple world champion in all kind of companies, he said, "Hey, Alex, you never know what's going to happen. Take your wrestling gear with you." And I was brought into the business the old school way, always have respect for the trainers, respect the veterans, and always listen, keep your eyes open, mouth
Yep.
shut. And yeah, well, I followed my dad, and yeah, it happened that somebody from the WCW roster was injured the night before. Ric Flair was the booker at that day, at that time, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, do you have your wrestling gear with you?" And I said, "Yeah, great." So that was my first match for WCW, and Ric Flair and all the other guys really enjoyed it. And they said, "Hey, do you want to finish? Do you want to finish the tour with us?"
Hmm.
Of course, a big chance to work for WCW. So I wrestled the rest of the tour with them, which only that was a great experience, being
Hmm.
on the tour with all those guys and stuff like that. And at the end of the tour, Rick called me into a hotel room, and Eric Bischoff was there, surprisingly. And they said, "Hey, listen, do you want to have a contract? You're going to give you a contract." And that blew my mind. I never expected something like that, chance of a lifetime. And yeah, of course, I had to think about it because I already signed a contract with CWA for the next following year.
Hmm.
So I had to straighten that out with them, and I had, and since my dad wrestled many, many years for them, and they knew what big chance it was, they wanted to support me, and they said, "Okay, we're gonna let you out of the contract, take that chance." And yeah, I had 1 week to decide. I was engaged at that time already. I already
Hmm.
had a contract with a company, and I had to decide in 1 week if I moved to the States by myself at the age of 18. So, and of course I did, because everything I did till that moment was to, when I was like 8 years old or 10 years old, I can't remember really. I always said to my dad, "Hey, listen, one day I'm going to be in the States and I'm going to wrestle there on TV." And that was the chance. And I decided to go over there. And then I was very lucky, being in that great country. And it was the best time of my life being over there and wrestling for WCW. That was unbelievable.
How nerve-wracking was that for you mentally at such a young age to hear it all is? Do you feel like you were ready at that age to dive in like that and get a contract with WCW for you personally?
Um, I mean, there's a lot of factors
Hmm.
you have to count in. I mean, from the wrestling, I still was a rookie, but my dad taught me a lot about
Hmm.
wrestling. I mean, he taught me the European style, which is very technical and submission stuff. He taught me the Japanese style. He taught me the Mexican style, and he taught me the American style. So I was actually very good prepared, and I wrestled um, a few months for CWA. I wrestled with Finlay and a lot of guys in that company, which I already gained some experience. But
Hmm.
you always learn in that sport, even after 20 and 30 years. But anyway, I felt I was in good shape. I had a good repertoire
Hmm.
that I could use. I was young, and I was very focused on my goals. Um, Plus, I did, like I said before, I did a lot of other sports, which I had a lot of competition background stuff. So I had a lot of experience working under pressure. So that
Hmm.
was kind of okay. But in the States, at the age of 18, it was very hard because in your country, you're an adult at 21.
Hmm.
And then,
Okay.
of course, I was a foreigner and I was German.
Hmm.
That's not very, that time it was not very, good combination, and especially in the locker room, being a young kid, 18 years old, most of my colleagues were 30 and up, you know.
Hmm.
The only young guy was Bagwell at that time. And so I had a hard time in the locker room at the beginning because they didn't know, how what kind of guy I am. They had to
Hmm.
know me. But after 9 months, they really knew, okay, this kid wants to learn. He has no big head. He's one of us and stuff like that. So then it was really cool. And I'm really grateful for the help from Mark Merrow. I mean, he helped me a lot at the beginning and down the road also. And I traveled many years with him. Great guy. And also DDP, he helped me a lot. And Bagwell actually helped me a lot at the beginning. So yeah, I'm very thankful for the guys who said, "Hey, we're gonna help this kid out. He doesn't know anybody here in the States,"
Hmm.
and that was very nice of them.
When you first moved to the States, did they put you down in the power plant, or where did they have you go?
Yeah, actually, I had to go to the power plant, which was like a parking lot till they have a spot on TV because a show just has so many spots, and if they're
Hmm.
all occupied, then you have to wait. And that was an experience. It was good to stay in shape. Plus, I learned a lot of new stuff also. It was very tough.
Hmm.
They really got at you. I remember one day I kept running the ropes like the whole day. My back
Hmm.
was swollen that much, and I think they just wanted to see if I'm gonna quit,
Hmm.
which I didn't. My dad always said you never quit, and but it was really painful because you WCW steel cable ropes,
Hmm.
and yeah, but it was a very good experience, and yeah, helped me to even more focus on my goals because I knew I don't want to stay down there in that power plant, be on TV. I don't want
Hmm.
to go through that all day long.
Who were some of the trainers at the power plant at the time?
I mostly worked with Sarge, and Jody Hamilton was at that place a lot. He did a lot of ring psychology and stuff like that. So that was good. Who else were there? What was his name? Paz Wadley, I think. Paz.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
Pez
there.
Whatley.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. Yeah, and Mike, I forgot his last name, long time ago. The first name was Mike. He always picked me up from the hotel. The first 6 months in the States, I lived at the airport in a hotel, and I had no car because I
Hmm.
couldn't buy anything. I had no credit history. 18
Hmm.
years old. So the guy always picked me up and brought me down there, and then I had, that was kind of okay.
During your time at the power plant, did they know who they wanted you to be? Like, did they want you to do a certain style, or did they just want you? What did it feel like they were just, like you said, trying to get you to quit? Because it seemed like that was the common theme. They just wanted to see how
Well,
much you wanted it.
exactly. Well,
Hmm.
there was the problem was that they actually didn't. I had a contract, but they didn't pay me for a couple months. I think it was a half a year. So I had a lot of debt. I owed a
Hmm.
lot of money to a lot of good people, especially
Hmm.
to my family. And that really frustrated me because when I was in Germany, it all sounded great and like a big chance. And when I go over there, then it's going to skyrocket, but it didn't. I was at the power plant, which was okay,
Hmm.
but I had no money. My fiance was in Germany, and I was by myself. I didn't know anybody. So another person who helped me a lot was the manager of the hotel. She's a very nice lady called Elaine, and she really helped me out. I mean, she she gave me her Cadillac to drive around, stuff like that, and I mean anything. She tried to help me. Very nice lady. Very grateful for that. And anyway, plus, but I didn't know anybody else.
Hmm.
Sometimes I met a few guys which stayed at the hotel, but they went just one day and then they went on the road again and stuff like that. So it was very frustrating. I started really drinking a lot and I gained a lot of weight. I mean, just being in a hotel, gained like, what was it, like 40 pounds? And one day, Ric Flair, I was at a TV show backstage, and Ric Flair said, "Hey, listen, kid, I know you're talented, and we really want to do something with you, but right now, how you look, that is not das Wunderkind. You need to
Hmm.
change. Otherwise, we can't do anything with you." So that was the the foot on my ass, my ass, and from that moment, I really watched my diet. I started training twice a day, Saturday, and I lost like I went down from 250, I went down to 190, and I was really shredded then.
Hmm.
Only 8% body fat and stuff like that. And I really worked hard at the power plant. And then Ric Flair said to me, okay, now you look like Das Wunderkind. And that's when they planned stuff with me, but I still didn't have any money.
Hmm.
So I got really pissed and I went down to the CNN building in Atlanta, had no appointment, and just rushed into the office from Eric Bischoff and said, hey, listen, Eric, I can lose money in Germany also. I don't have to be in the States for that. So either you pay me or I'm gone. And I think that really impressed him because from that moment on, they paid me. And it was good being on the road, but then I had another problem. I had the all the costs on the road, and I had to pay all the stuff on, at home, like the hotel and stuff like that. So double cost. So I didn't make any money, and to save money, I slept on the floor in the hotels from all the guys, ate just one time a day, stuff like that, just to come by. And plus it was hard to, I mean, WCW paid the flights, but once I arrived at the airport at the destination, it always was like, how do I get to the building? Because I wasn't able to rent a car because being 18. So that's when Mark Marrow and um, Bagwell and those guys, they really helped me and gave me a ride and stuff like that. And yeah, at the beginning was like I said, tough, but after 9 months, everything went better and cooler, and I got along with 99% of the guys in the backstage, so it was really cool. Like I said before, great country, great, great to work in WCW, a lot of great talents there, and a lot of nice guys. So I really enjoyed my time there.
How long after that you had that conversation with Bischoff did you start working television events, and how was that for you to go
Looking
to TV like that? Were you ready for to be on national television like that?
looking back, I mean, it's been now what 30 years? No, what 95, 2005. Yeah, 30 years now.
It's
So I
been a
really,
little bit.
yeah, I can't really recall how quick it was, but it was pretty immediately that
Hmm.
I was on TV, and they really pushed me hard. I mean, I didn't lose a match for 2.5 years, and so I felt good. I mean, of course, dancing. I didn't want to dance. That
Hmm.
was management said, hey, listen, that's a good idea, and how this happened was. I went out with some guys to a dance club, and some office guys were at that club also, and I just danced like I would dance in a dance club in Germany to techno music, and they came up,
Hmm.
hey, listen, what's that? That's different, because that was a time when techno just started to swap over to the States,
Hmm.
and I said, well, that's how I dance in Germany, and he said, hey, that you have to do that in the ring, and I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. No, because I was brought up like pure wrestling, not too much
Hmm.
entertainment, just wrestling. And that's the difference to TV. The more entertaining you are, the better it is. So they said, okay, you have to do that. I did it, and I must say that was the best decision what I could have done. I mean, look, it's like 30 years ago, and you still are doing an interview with me. You
Hmm.
know, a lot of people are forgotten after 6 months of TV.
Hmm.
So I'm very, yeah, thankful that the people still remember me. And that's one big part is the dance,
Hmm.
because it was different. It made me very popular and everybody knew me very quickly.
Hmm.
And especially the girls and the kids and the grandmas, you know,
Hmm.
they loved me. And on the other hand, I had a hard time with some fans because they never gave me a chance and looked past the dancing and looked at my wrestling abilities. So it
Hmm.
was, on one hand, it was good. On the other hand, it was not that good. But it was fun.
Is there any particular moments that mean something to you from those early days in WCW once you got on TV?
My first autograph
Hmm.
in the States. Seeing, I mean, I had, I was 16, actually, I had a world championship match for CWA in front of 12,000 spectators. So I remember that was great feeling. And over in the States, it was almost every day like that. So that was unbelievable. And yeah, just being on the road, living my dream. That's you know you can't ask more for anything. Like if you're able to live your dream and do that what you want, that's the best thing you could happen to you.
What did it feel like to have that crowd behind you for that so long of a period of time, and then you just got over, and everyone, like you said, they still remember you 30 years later. But how was it being in that time where people just loved they loved the dance, they loved the stuff you were doing? Was it hard for you to deal with, or were you ready for all that fame at that point in time?
Well, fame is one of the worst drugs you could get.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
but I grew up in that business,
Yeah.
so to one sort, I was familiar with a lot of stuff. Okay, I mean, my dad has a big name all over the world.
Hmm.
Uh, he wrestled a lot of big names. I mean, a lot of guys wrestled for CWA, like Vader, like Scott Hall, like Owen Hart, like JBL, Justin Thunder Liger. I met all those guys, and they were easy and cool to me. So that was kind of okay. And I knew in Germany when my dad wrestled in Bremen, for instance, um, he had many, many fans, and a lot of businessmen came up to him and said, "Hey, you can come to my restaurant. You eat for free and stuff like that." I mean, I,
Hmm.
I was kind of used to that, but I also had a regular life, and they always kept me down to earth. But now here's the but, the big but. When I came to the States, being on TV, that's really another big dimension
Hmm.
higher because really everybody knows you. And I mean, pro wrestling is one of the most popular sports in the US. So it's like soccer over here in Germany. So when you walk around, it's just you get everybody knows you. Um, you have a lot of bonuses like Planet Hollywood. And there was a line for like 4 hours. You had to wait for a seat. I just booked up and they gave me a seat and stuff like that. And being 18 years old and experience all that, plus, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff, and all the girls, all the
Hmm.
offers and stuff like that. You get like, man. So, and there I was very lucky because after half a year, I developed a little bit big head, I would say.
Hmm.
Then my fiance came over to me finally to the States, and she really stopped immediately my big head. She said to me, "Hey, listen, you're just the same Alex Strike like before, so quit being an idiot." And that's what I needed. And from that moment, I remember again being just the old guy Alex, right? Because it's just sport entertainment. It's nothing special. Okay, that's the best you can handle it. At the worst is if you fall for the drug wrestling and for the fame. If you can't stop wrestling because you need to be in, you need that attention and all that stuff, then you have a problem.
What was it like winning gold in WCW?
Well, I enjoyed it. Yeah, of course. No, it's great. Even in sports entertainment, it's some sort thank you, which the company tells you, okay, you're the face of the company, you represent the company, we trust you. So that's a good feeling that they have trust in you and stuff like that.
And
The one thing I did not like actually is every time you went to the airport and you had to pass the security, you knew you had to count in 30 minutes more because as soon as you open your bag and because it's belt, so everybody, ask and signing autographs, which is nice. But at one point, I when I was tag team champion, I had to carry
Mhm.
both belts. So that was pretty heavy and it took forever then. So that was, yeah, kind of fun.
Is there any particular moment during your time in WCW that stands out the most to you during your whole run?
That's a tough question because there's so many, because it's not a normal life what you live. I mean, you live on the fast lane and every day is,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of great days where you met certain people or you work certain people, so you have a great match, or then you have a lot of bad days
Mhm.
because fuck, they destroy your gimmick or they take you off TV because just backstage politics. So there's a lot of up and downs.
Mhm.
Couldn't call. I mean, of course, winning all the titles, that was very nice. Seeing all the countries like Australia, Japan, stuff like that. Working certain guys, that's it. But yeah, there's too many just to pick out one.
Before WCW closed, did you ever pitch anything that you wanted to do, or maybe that something that didn't come to fruition that you wish you would have been able to do?
Well, I pitched the Berlin gimmick. That's what
Hmm.
I did after a few years. But at the beginning, I was so young. I didn't think so much about business and stuff like that. I just wanted to step in the ring, have
Hmm.
a match, have fun, and enjoy my life. That was it. If the fans were satisfied, that was the best thing for me. And so I didn't think too much at the beginning about stuff like that. Later on, then, of course, if you get older, you mature and
Hmm.
okay. Uh, but yeah, Berlin gimmick I pitched and had a lot of potential. You know,
Hmm.
they did a good job debuting that gimmick, that character, and then yeah, the bosses switched, from Eric Bischoff to Vince Russo, and
When did you see WCW closing? Did you see that coming? And were you worried at that point in time?
yeah, of course, because a lot of people were talking backstage about it.
Hmm.
Plus, every time we had a show and we we just see that the product get destroyed by
Hmm.
booking. I mean, there were so many stupid calls like we shouldn't do this in the ring or you shouldn't do that in the ring, and it came from people which never stood in the ring, so they had no idea how to build a match or stuff like that. And of course, that was one sign, and the other sign was of the audiences in the building. They went smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, less and less people came to the shows.
Hmm.
That was a follow-up from the wrong booking and the wrong decisions. And every time when they had to switch around the fans to the other side,
Hmm.
to the opposite side of the hard cam, just so the building looks full, that was not normal.
That's an issue. Yeah. When WCW closed, did WWE reach out? Did you reach out to them? Were you under a different kind of contract?
Well, I was one of the few guys which had a Time Warner contract.
Hmm.
That was I think just 10 guys in WCW or something like that had this kind of contract. So WWE couldn't buy out my contract. And which I was hearing the offers to buy out a contract, they weren't that good also. And since I had a couple years in my contract, I said, well, I'm not gonna take that
Hmm.
money and lose so much money just to be on TV up there. Because yeah, I thought to myself, well, they already have a full roster up there
Hmm.
in WWE. And now they're buying the full roster from WCW. Can you imagine how it's going to be backstage?
Hmm.
Everybody's fighting for a spot to get, I mean, I didn't want to do that again. And
Hmm.
I just going to wait my contract and then I will see. But at that point, I was really mentally and physically burned out because I was straight with WCW. I wrestled many, many years and I had a lot of injuries. And I kept wrestling with a lot of injuries also.
Hmm.
And I said to myself, nah, I just sit out my contract and go back to my roots. So I went back to Germany to see my family, which the last years, I hadn't the chance to see them a lot because you don't have any vacations. So I
Yeah.
just see them like maybe a couple days a year. And I said, no, I got to go back and see what's going to happen. And in that time, actually, WWE approached me twice and asked me if I'm interested, if I want to come to them. But I didn't felt ready at that moment because, like I said, it, if you don't, I knew I can't give 100%
Hmm.
for the promotion. I can't give 100% for the fans, and I can't give 100% for myself. And that wouldn't be fair for any of them to step in the
Hmm.
ring there because I couldn't perform. And I said, I'm very honored and thank you very much, but it's not the right time for me.
Did they have any ideas that they were just, or they just wanted to bring you in?
Well, one time they said, well, we would like to do a story with you and Hogan.
Hmm.
So that would have been actually a very big deal. But like I said, I mean, if I didn't want to end up like some of my colleagues,
Yeah.
I mean that. So I knew I gonna have to take a break for myself. And that's what I did. And then I started opening my wrestling school over here, the Right Stuff Pro Wrestling School in Germany, and that really skyrocketed. I mean, I've been doing this now for 20 years over here, and I'm always booked 1 year and a half, fully booked. So it's a lot of fun being a trainer. It's almost as much as fun as being in the ring because there it's different because I get people they have no clue about wrestling,
Hmm.
and I bring in to having great matches in front of crowds, being in a lot of companies, wrestle worldwide, being champions. I mean, most of my former students um, are booked all around Europe, even in the US. They have a lot of titles already. So I'm
Hmm.
very proud, and that's very good as a trainer. When you see this progress from a
Hmm.
student, that's very satisfying. I mean, probably know Fabian Eichner,
Hmm.
Giovanni Vinci. He's a
Hmm.
former student of mine. Yeah, so
You know,
that's good fun also. Plus, I
being
opened
booked. Go ahead.
plus plus I opened my own wrestling promotion, New European Championship Wrestling.
Hmm.
Did a lot of shows over here, and yeah, that's fun.
So it's
Being
safe
still
to
in
say that
business.
that it's been good for you ever since your WCW days. Life's been good, wrestling's been good to you. I mean, being booked that far in advance is a good problem to have.
Yeah, of course. You always have to think positive. Of course, everybody has hard times.
Hmm.
It was no fun to take that break from wrestling because I was burned out. Of
Hmm.
course, I almost lost my passion for the sport because of all the backstage politics and stupid stuff. But you have to look past that and always focus on the good stuff. And then my passion came back, and I stayed in the business. Now I've been second generation wrestler. I wrestled all over the world. I have my own wrestling school. I have my promotion. Now I have a podcast, Be Right, on YouTube. So it's also about wrestling. So it's a lot of fun, and yeah, you always have to do that what's for your soul, which is
Hmm.
good.
Where can people reach out to you at? Where can they sign up to try to come train with you?
Well, they find me. My website is progressionschool.de. There's also an English version, and they also find me on Instagram. Um, Wrestling, what's that called? Underneath oh man, just put it Alex Wright. I'm on there. On Facebook. I'm there, and so there's a lot of places they can reach me, or they can watch the podcast. I talk a lot about WCW.
Mm.
So nowadays with the automatic translation in YouTube shouldn't be a problem for
Hmm.
you guys over there.
If you had any advice to give to anybody getting into professional wrestling, what would it be?
Always be ready for your chance and always work hard on yourself, believe in your dreams, and yeah, that's it. Because there's a lot of people which try to talk in your ear and
Hmm.
tell you, no, you're not gonna make it or whatever. But as long as you're young, or even to your mid 30s, if you have that dream, you should try this dream. Try to make it work. Because when you're old, you don't want to regret not trying, That's it.
Hmm.
So no, that's one of the best things. Be prepared. That's it. And find a good professional wrestling school. That's also very important. That the trainer really wants to support you.
Hmm.
Find a good promotion at the beginning which wants to support you, and then but always work hard on you. That's it. Don't You have to set priorities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, I just want to say thank you for what you've done for professional wrestling and what you continue to do, sir. Thank you for all the entertainment over the last 30 plus years.
Thank
I
you very much.
truly appreciate you coming on today to talk a little bit about your career. It truly means a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I mean, like I said, great people in the States. I really enjoy the States. Achtung, Achtung! Das war Alex Wright. Und vielleicht komme ich bald wieder.
I'm so happy and glad that time period after WCW, like you did not lose your passion and you continue to help people and you're continuing to promote and train people. You are someone that is good to have within this professional wrestling space.
Thank you very much. I always try my best.
And if
I always want that the sport continues.
Mhm. And if there's ever anything that I can do, please feel free to reach out, sir.
I will. Thank you very much.